It is 8:29, and I will bring the meeting back into order. All right, and with that, we'll move on to old business item A, the sales tax and emergency financial emergency declaration.
All right, Mayor and Council. So we had brought this forward at the last council meeting, but we, when we do any sales tax measures, we have to have a full city council in order to adopt them. And since we had one person not able to attend, we are bringing it back to this meeting. This is our last chance to adopt this because I have to ensure that it is turned into the county by tomorrow morning and for them to get it on the ballot on November 4th. So I think we just tabled it without any discussion on the last council meeting. So just kind of an overview. After seeing the budget and discussing the budget, we talked about the revenues a little bit, but essentially in March of 2026, our 0.5% transaction and use tax it expires. And so our budget reflected that we will be short on revenue for the next 2 years. And we projected that if this does not get adopted, it is projected in our budget that we just adopted. From Finance Committee, we are proposing a 1% transaction and use tax for special ballot measure. Just so you guys are aware, Reading is also adopting the same ballot measure at a 1%. So we will be, if adopted, we would be in comparison with them. And so I did provide an updated resolution. There was comments on the ordering of what that looked like. So that's stapled. Unfortunately, the one in the packet was the one from last time. I think it just got pulled from the wrong one, got pulled because we had a revised version. So the stapled version is the version that was requested by the council at the last meeting. And you'll notice the date is incorrect on there. The one I have over here for signature is corrected.
Do you mind if I read the two changes now?
Go ahead.
Okay, so the two changes from what was in the agenda packet to what is being voted on tonight are: one, the date, because the date is obviously changed from last meeting to today. And the other thing is based on a little bit of feedback we had.
The difference in priorities of.
Yep, and priorities, some of the verbiage as it would appear on the ballot has changed. So I'm just going to read that out loud now so everyone's aware. What is being voted on tonight is provide funding to maintain city services and facilities, including wildfire prevention, public safety, library, revitalization, recreation, parks, roads, storm drains, and general government uses. Shall the city of Dunsmuir adopt an ordinance to amend the city's existing sales tax rate to be 1%, providing approximately $270,000 annually, and to remain in effect until ended by voters, with money staying local, subject to independent audits. Right. Just double checking here. David, if you don't mind, I just want to make sure that we don't need to provide something that says like potentially, or like a word like that, just to make sure it maintains the general, just to make sure it's general versus special. I want to make sure by saying to provide funding to maintain sort of the cities,
if I may,
including, I just want to make sure that including doesn't trigger.
If David Lim, our attorney, is on the line, if he could comment on whether he's reviewed and or approves the verbiage when it comes to legal standing.
Yeah, the verbiage has been prepared and vetted by our elections team, so we're fine with the language, and we don't need any more specific.
Okay, including that most recent edit. Okay, cool. All right, I'm happy with that then. Okay, so those were the only two changes from what was included in the agenda packet, correct?
Correct. Okay. And the ordinance that, if so approved by the community in the ballot, then a sample copy of the ordinance is attached that would be adopted, subject to that vote.
All right, any questions?
Are you gonna do public
I'm gonna
comment
do
again
public
or?
comment.
Okay, oh wait.
Okay, with that, I'll open up this item 2, public comment. Everyone will have 3 minutes. I'll give a 30-second warning when your time is almost up. Please limit any public comment to this particular item. We'll do individuals in the room first, followed by individuals on Zoom. Oh, one
Just a
second, sorry.
Could you turn that on? Just hold that button.
Push and hold.
Yeah.
Let me just,
Yeah,
There you go.
you're good.
Okay,
I'm gonna reset you
I'm
to
good.
3 minutes.
Sorry.
okay, we're good.
Yep.
Yep.
I'm still Tim Holt. And I want to present an alternative view that I think the council at least ought to consider. It's an obvious that a 0.5% increase would have a better chance of passage. I was involved in the campaign that got the last one passed. That I believe would raise $135,000 a year. The vote on that was about 60% approval. So, 0.5% to me is a sure thing. When you go to 1%, you're kind of going into new and chancier territory. The 0.5%, we already have it. People would probably be okay with that. When you talk about 1%, you could lose some votes. That's kind of my point. And, the other obvious point is that a lot of it depends on the sales effort, how you sell it. And, as an individual voter, what's in it for me? Keeping the library open, maybe the pool, whatever, and public safety. So I think, that's obviously an important point, whatever you adopt. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
This is more of a question, so I hope that's okay. The last time an additional sales tax was raised, well, no, it wasn't the sales tax, it was the TOT. I signed and supported the statement that talked about all the different effects, the benefits of the additional revenue. And you said that you have to turn this in tomorrow. Will there be a statement like that? Do you have to turn that in by tomorrow? Because that's really important.
No.
I think that somebody, maybe Tim or somebody,
No, there's a time frame for that. This just has to be to the county for the
Reminder
ballot.
to not,
Oh, sorry.
no back and forth.
Okay,
But
I'm
I
sorry.
know.
I did just wonder, because of the deadline. And, maybe there could be a letter that goes into every household. I don't know, if there was a group, maybe not a small group, a large group of people that were, that wanted to promote this, that maybe coffee clutches, round tables, some public hearings, could be organized. So I think if people realize that it affects, it can affect all these benefits, these services, I think and they see what it means for themselves, as Tim said, I think it stands a good chance of passing.
Thank you.
Hello again. Roy Bailey, 5906 Castle Avenue. I'm concerned about 3 points of the sections in this document. One, it says, if the measure is not passed by the voters, the existing ordinance remains in effect. That means it would, from November until the time runs out, not continuous. It's not a vote to continue it. Okay.
No, correct.
I think the wording needs to be changed because I think it could be misinterpreted to that. Section 6 allows the attorney to write it, which is okie dokie, because that's okay. Section 7, I have a real problem with this. It says it authorized the following council members are authorized to file the argument in favor of the measure. I have a real problem with that. We've been through this before. I don't want to go through it again. I think that section even if you put anybody's name in there, the fact is, in ballot arguments, they go by weight. An individual writes it, it's got some weight. City council writes it, have other weight. State of California writes it, it has other weight. I think you're messing with voter laws there. That's the three sections I have. I would much prefer this to be a 2/3 vote of the people with the items specified. I have a real problem with it going to the general fund, and I think you're going to stand some real problems if you do that. I think if the city council is involved with the ballot argument in favor of it, things like this, you are going to face some difficulties. I will speak towards it one way or the other, but I would want this body to be in unison and things done proper.
Thank you. All right, is there any other further public comment this evening? All right, seeing none, I will close public comment on this item. All right. We'll go into discussion.
I have a question. David, I have a question. Are we at the maximum word count for the ballot measure?
Yes.
I was gonna say, I don't know, but I know that you're pretty close. I don't know the exact.
I think the limit's 75 words, I believe, and that includes the title. And when it's exactly 75. Maybe it's 74 after I adjusted it, but I believe it was 75.
Okay, I would like to propose an amendment to the measure language to strike storm drains. Insert downtown in front of revitalization and replace storm drains with infrastructure. Revitalization is super vague, and I think a lot of people are gonna look at that and what does that mean? And God bless storm drains, but storm drains are not sexy. But infrastructure in general is still not sexy, but it still gets the point across that this is a general fund expenditure.
I second that.
I do have a question. Would the council be open instead of downtown? Would it be community revitalization?
No, downtown's what we've been using as the phrase for the
Okay.
last.
I just
least
know
4 or
there's
5
multiple
years.
areas of the community that could tolerate that aspect, and that's a little broader term, but
Revitalization's overly broad.
I mean, yes, I agree, but just a thought.
I'm not mad at it.
Yeah,
Community revitalization?
Community revitalization rather than downtown.
I mean, downtown points to we need economic prosperity and we're trying to go for that.
You know
Community's
what?
more,
I'll amend my motion to strike downtown and insert community. Yeah, it is. I mean, the Mossbury falls into there, right? You know what I
Um,
mean?
and
Yeah, I like
I think of
community
like the Glass House and Acorn Inn and the other pretty large assets that we have outside of the downtown.
And then who seconded me?
I did.
Are you cool
I'll
with
amend that, yeah.
Okay, so just to rephrase, the motion is to strike storm drains, insert the word community in front of revitalization, and to replace storm drains with infrastructure. All the question.
All right, all those in favor? of
Aye,
that amendment? Aye. Okay,
cool.
That's
so,
right.
and that was just that amendment of
Yeah.
the word, the verbiage.
Yeah, I was gonna say, don't we have to do
I
a
just wanted to
roll call?
specify that we
Okay.
didn't just.
And then my next point is, David, we do not assign who is writing the in favor measure today, correct? We would adopt this and then the next meeting we would assign, or at a future meeting, we would assign who would be preparing the in favor argument, correct?
Well, you could do it either way. Right now, as the resolution is written, you have section 7, which does leave a blank line for you to assign council members to do it. If you're not ready to do that, then put this court to be determined. And I'm sure that the county will be okay with that. I know that normally you don't do it right away, but we'd like to give you all the options up front. So, just to know that you have that ability to do it today, you could do it some other point in time. So if you don't do it, I would just recommend put, to be determined. And then when Dustin submits it tomorrow, just he'll let them know. We'll let you know who's writing. So their choice.
Okay, will probably be to be determined.
Hmm. Well,
Um,
what I'd really like, just touching
Go
on
ahead.
one of the public comments is I actually would really like to see a citizen write the pro. However, what I would like to do is maybe just assign someone to be able to do it as a backup. So basically give one of us the argument authorized to file the argument in favor, but have a citizen to do it 1 or 2 in mind. Those that I think are interested potentially, but.
okay.
So that's why I was saying, more, I would just like to assign that just as a,
So I'll make a motion to amend section 7, line 74 of the resolution to strike the word council members and insert the word individuals. Does the individual preparing the in favor have to be a registered voter? I think they do.
the other thing though, I was gonna mention this, and feel free to correct me, David, is that if it's a citizen, we don't need to list them here. We only
No,
need to
we-
list as, we only need to list a council member because after we vote, unless we do a statement of, or a resolution supporting the tax amendment, then we can't speak towards the sales tax amendment. So we need to specifically authorize that now. But an individual can do it regardless of whether we specify them in the document.
My understanding with election law is that no city funds can be used to promote a tax decision. Does that include council? I believe that includes council member involvement because you can't say you're in favor or to influence the vote unduly with your position.
Council members can, is my understanding, not council.
Yes.
So
So,
individually.
so to clarify, the city council can take an official position endorsing this measure. And so the arguments, written by the council members are noted in section 7 would be the official endorsement of the council. But you're
Okay.
correct that for campaigning, council members then cannot use their official office or public resources to campaign. You would need to use your own private resources.
Okay.
So that's the distinction. Here, this would be an official endorsement by
Okay.
the city.
Okay. I will rescind my motion then and go back to,
David, just double checking, I am correct that we do not need to list citizens, only council members under section 7.
Correct.
Correct. Yeah.
okay.
This would include council endorsing it. Obviously, we're putting it on the ballot, so it's kind of intuitive, but yeah. Well, are there any volunteers?
Eeny, meeny, oh,
I think it should be a
Councilwoman
member of
Lu-
the finance.
No, I don't think so. I think Councilwoman Lucchese and I have written these in the past. It would be wonderful if we got maybe a new perspective since, we intend to support this.
mayor and vice mayor.
Yeah, I'll motion to assign the mayor and vice mayor as the authorized council members to file
second
an
that.
argument in favor of the measure.
Okay. If
I can do it if I have some direction. I
if a
just don't know
citizen,
what to do.
yeah,
There's
if
no
a-
seconding it to
Yeah.
the motion. Someone second it.
I did.
Okay, cool. There's,
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Aye. And like I said, I would still prefer a citizen to do it, but in a backup scenario, we're there. All right, anything else?
So, so with this new resolution, was there anything in the resolution besides what we've amended thus far that needs to be read into the record? Or can I read this by title only?
So we need to do, I believe we need to do the emergency financial declaration. And I was just gonna speak on that for a second before we do that.
I thought
first.
we
Is that
adopted that
correct,
resolution.
David?
That's the one we couldn't.
No, that's the emergency declaration is the one we couldn't do without all 5.
So,
And then it was this, correct? And there was the
Why don't
sales
we-
tax we could,
Defer to our attorney.
yeah.
Okay. Fair.
so, Mr. Mayor, Madam Member of the Council, we wrote this resolution as one resolution, so it can be taken just as a motion to approve resolution 2025-15. For purposes of passage, however, it needs a unanimous vote. And that's because under section 2, because you're calling this during a special election and not a general election of city council, you would need to declare it was just for emergency pursuant to section 2, which is on line 37 through 42. and that requires a unanimous vote of the 5 council members. The actual placing on ballot is under sections 3 and 4. That requires a 2/3 vote, which is 4 out of 5 council members. But effectively, if we do not get a unanimous vote, then this resolution would fail. So I hope that covers, but you can do this in just one resolution.
That does. Do you mind if I just speak on the financial emergency for
Yeah.
30 seconds before you make your motion? So a couple of big things here are obviously the Public Works building, potential changes to the sheriff's contract in addition to the current amount now, leading to the deficit, which is present in the budget that we just went over as the last item. The other major issue that I, and I believe the rest of the finance committee and city staff believe justifies a financial, declaring this financial emergency right now. And I know this is something that Citizen Clother is passionate about and has kind of drilled down on is cash flow. Just because the general fund is subsidizing is paying the bills of these enterprise funds that can't make up, that don't have the full amount they need to operate. That is affecting, or right now we're okay, but in several, in a year or two, as it's going now, we're going to need some serious, it's affecting it now, and it is going to be seriously affecting it into the future.
Well, may I
yeah,
add?
go ahead.
So to put it in perspective, until 2 weeks ago, staff's recommended budget included over $640,000 deficit the first year and about $550,000 in the second year. So they've done an amazing job cutting things that could possibly be put off 1 more year, 2 more years.
Yeah.
We also really honed in on the accuracy of the revenues to get to that moderate place. But if we don't take the basic action to fund our city, maintain and increase its services, we're going to be faced with just cutting. So we're really asking the community to do that. So it is an emergency as things stand now. We have about 2 years before we're out of money if we don't correct course.
So I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 2025-15, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Dunsmuir, California, declaring a fiscal emergency, approving an ordinance and ordering that a measure be submitted to the voters of the City of Dunsmuir at the special municipal election to be held on November 4th, 2025, to extend the duration of and increase by 0.5% the local transactions and use tax from 0.5% to 1%, with the tax continuing to be administered by the California Department of Tax and Fee Administration as amended.
Is there a second?
Oh, second.
All right. And if we can do a roll call on this, please.
Councilmember Hubbard,
Aye.
Councilmember Lucchese,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Sebring,
Aye.
Councilmember Bryan,
Aye.
Mayor Clarno.
Aye. All right. Motion passes unanimously. And the last question I have before we move on this is I don't know if either of you have this on the top of your head, but what is the date to put in letters for and against? Is it an additional week or is it 2 weeks? I don't know.
It would
I
have
know
to
that
come.
off the top of my head. We'll get you that information.
Yeah, if you could make sure to get us that. I believe it was some time in August. For some reason, the date August 13th is sticking out in my head from when I was
That's all.
looking at it.
That's not even a week.
Well, it's critical we know when.
Yeah,
So
Yesterday.
yesterday. You got a long night ahead of you.
All right, with that, we'll move on to future agenda items. I do have one question. Is everyone potentially available to do a special meeting on August 28th? That is Thursday.
I'm available.
Okay.
I'm available.
28,
Mhm.
yeah, I can do that.
Mhm.
All right, looks like all of council is available on that day. So, okay.
Okay.
Are there any future agenda items that anyone else would like to go over at this current time?
Just a note, there's a couple of future agenda items that we addressed today, like budget and personnel that are still on there. And then, when do we expect the next downtown revitalization update? Because we had it listed
It's-
as today, but
Yeah, and because of the
yeah,
heaviness of the agenda, I had a meeting with Cosmont earlier this week. We discussed they're coming back on the 21st.
okay, thank you.
All right, cool. Well, if there's nothing else, I move that we adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned.
Wait, wait.
Thank you.
Do anybody want to keep these little guys?